Welcome back to the show. We got the most important day in U.S. election history, and it involves all of us as crypto voters. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. It's 51 cents, ranging between 49 and 51. Let's look at the market really quickly. $2.43 trillion market cap for crypto. The market's up 0.3, but yet right now, 69,800 plus for Ethereum, 2,400 plus for Ethereum. Let's just look at XRP because we got something to watch today. It's going to take up some time and you need all of it. XRP number 7 spots, 51 cents, up 0.2 on the 24, off by 2.7 on the 7-day. Let's look at this, ladies and gentlemen. We want to remind everybody that we are huge supporters of John Deaton in Massachusetts, and we have done everything that we can do in our power to help affect that man's result in Massachusetts, and I wish him all the best in that race today, and I can't wait to see the results tonight. Now, let's move to this very quickly here. Binance CZ's lawyer files a motion to dismiss the SEC's amended complaint, slamming the SEC for lack of regulatory clarity. It's still not over for Binance and CZ, even though he was just released from jail. Here from Eleanor Tarrant, if the real Donald Trump, it's his handle, if Donald Trump wins, he will be able to demote Gary Gensler from the chairmanship and designate either Hester Peirce or Mark Udea for the time being. But Gensler does have the ability to stay on as a commissioner through 2026 if he chooses to. Now, if Kamala Harris wins, it's unclear whether she should choose to demote Gensler, despite many calls for her to do so. She hasn't given a clear indication as to how she feels about him one way or the other, but she can. Now, this is all based off of the questions that was posted here by Dave Michaels. Now, one thing I'll add to this is I believe, highlighting Ashley Prosper's comment earlier, she said that it says can't fire him without cause. But if he can find cause, he can be fired. I could find cause to fire that guy. That's for sure. But let's listen to Hester Peirce right here, who is on Fox.
So let's talk about maybe the crypto crackdown of Gary Gensler's SEC. Do you think it's appropriate, or where should we go at the SEC to regulate crypto?
Well, Sean, it's great to be here. And I do think that we've been taking the wrong path. We've been using enforcement as our leading foot. And we haven't used our regulatory tools, which we're primarily a regulatory agency, and that's where we should be starting.
Well, let's hope that he can demote him if Trump wins today, and let's hope that he puts someone like either Udea or Hester Peirce in line there. We'll see. Meanwhile, Coinbase's chief legal officer, Paul Grewal, former federal judge, revealed that amazingly quickly, in his opinion, the judge in its FDIC FOIA case has ordered the agency to produce the Operation Choke Point 2.0 pause letters. Oh boy, this is getting good. And it gets even better because Maria Bartiromo just sat down with actually, it might have been Liz Clayman. I think it was Maria Bartiromo. One of them sat down. I just watched this interview, but I was paying attention to Paul. But listen to this interview of Fox here.
Candidates courting the crypto
Liz Clayman
community, but it appears that crypto's political clout is really expanding to key down ballot races. The margin in the Ohio Senate race is razor thin as Democratic incumbent and Senate Banking Committee Chair Sherrod Brown leads GOP challenger Bernie Moreno by just 1 point in the latest polling. That's the Washington Post. Moreno, a businessman who runs car dealerships, has pointedly courted the crypto faithful and their money. It's working. The Republican candidate received more than $40 million from the cryptocurrency-linked super PAC Defend American Jobs, the largest spender in the Ohio Senate race. With so many down-ballot races in a dead heat, could the crypto electorate actually make the difference between a win and a loss? Paul Grewal is the chief legal officer at crypto exchange Coinbase. Paul, this is fascinating to us. The Ohio Senate race is evidence of crypto's influence right now. How is the super PAC using its power? Is it just through money?
Well, thanks, first of all, for having me back on. And yes, money, unfortunately, is an important, even if unsatisfying reality of our current politics. And Coinbase has supported the Fair Shake Super PAC, which has funded a number of different efforts to support various candidates and oppose various candidates, including in Ohio, but all across the country. And we think what this reflects, Liz, is an emergence of the crypto voter and a real recognition by politicians on both sides of the aisle, Democrats and Republicans, that Americans want to see crypto in the future, and they want to see this issue addressed by Congress in a bipartisan fashion.
It's lost on nobody that it's not just the presidential race that looks like it's, a dead heat. You could maybe slip a kitten's whisker in between some of these polls between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. But for these down ballot issues, it's really fascinating to see some of these races and the power of crypto. Some of this, I'm sure, has a lot to do with the fact that Bitcoin has been on an incredible run. I mean, just over the last 2 weeks, it's up 11%. So the power of the money, perhaps, that is the sort of floating mechanism underneath these super PACs continues to expand in a way. What I find interesting is let's look at one of the House races, too. There's one in California where you've got the 45th congressional race. The Republican incumbent in this particular race is Michelle Steele. She has voted strictly in line with a lot of crypto issues and in turn received about $2.8 million from the crypto super PAC Fair Shake. I know Coinbase and some of the management have put a lot of money into that one. You look at the list of the most important voter issues, though, and it's, the economy, crime, the border. You don't really see, Paul, cryptocurrency up there on the list, and yet this is a huge driver for many of these candidates.
Well, I think, Liz, a couple of different factors are at play here. First of all, 52 million Americans have owned digital assets or cryptocurrencies at this point, and something like 90 or 95% of them are going to vote in this election. Now, not all of them will have crypto as their single issue or necessarily their most important issue that they consider when picking one candidate or another in the presidential race or any of the down ballot races, but crypto will be a factor. And if you combine that with a second, I think, important consideration, which is that so many of these races, the winner will be decided by a very slim margin. This is a very divided country, and many of these races, the margin of victory is equally slim. And so what you're going to see is a few thousand votes, one way or the other, could decide who wins any particular race. And that means that each candidate in each of those races needs to understand what the crypto voter cares about and what they expect from whomever they elect.
And that's why it's so important that every one of us go out and vote today.
What I also find extremely interesting is that a lot of the ads that these super PACs are running in support of certain candidates don't mention crypto. They don't mention cryptocurrency. They mention everything from small business owners, like with Bernie Moreno. There's one ad that mentions a small business owner who said that Moreno helped her in her police uniform business. There's certainly discussion about lower child care costs in some of the other commercials, but no mention of crypto and no attacking of Sherrod Brown in these ads. Is that a strategy? Talk about that.
Well, I think the strategy is to make sure that voters in each of these races understands where the candidates stand on a range of issues.
Okay.
Crypto, yes, is an important issue in the race, but in each race, of course, voters will be making their decision on positions that address any number of other issues. The important thing, we think, is for voters to be engaged, to come out to the polls, and to understand where their candidates stand, yes, on all sorts of other issues, but including, importantly, crypto. And the candidates' responses to this effort, I think, tells you all you need to know, Liz. Crypto's going to matter, and if they want to win, they need to pay attention.
We are paying attention, obviously, to all the races, but the presidential race is huge. And just yesterday, Donald Trump unveiled his family-backed token. And let's talk a little bit about that. It's a coin that launched. It's called the Crypto Bank World Liberty Financial Token. And it raised about $11.8 million. It fell short of the $300 million that it had hoped to do. And when you talk about the actual token sales, 344 million tokens were sold. That was just 1.7% of the 20 billion tokens allocated to the public for purchase. Multiple outages on the website. And listen, that happens when you're rolling out something that could be extraordinarily popular, as a lot of things that the former president rolls out are. But does that risk frustrating certain crypto voters who say, wait a minute, this thing wasn't ready for prime time?
I think what it really speaks to, Liz, is the Trump campaign and former President Trump's personal interest in crypto and commitment to crypto being part of the financial future. Equally interesting in my mind is that in this same week, we saw Vice President Harris once again underscore the need for a cryptocurrency framework in her own messages to a constituency that she hopes to woo. So in different ways and to varying degrees, each of these campaigns is, I think, arriving at a similar conclusion. Which
there you have it right there. And we have the power to change the actual outcome of every election in every state and in this country on the federal level for president. The power of your vote. Don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it. Look, I think all elections are rigged, but if enough people go out here and vote, it may be too big on one side for them to be able to pull it off. I think that's actually what we're up against. Now, looking at this, if you want to see some patterns that are encouraging right after U.S. elections, take a look at this from XRP drops here. U.S. elections in 2016, this is what happened shortly after. And then if we take a look here, U.S. elections 2020, look at what happened after. If you take a look here where we are, we may see a repeat to the market. And I think this is obviously for Bitcoin's price here. But historically speaking, Bitcoin does its thing, and then the altcoin market does its thing after that. That's the way history has led us. That's what we know. Look, I'm going to leave it right there because the truth is, today is the most important day in a U.S. election. And I don't want to take up your time. I want you to go vote. I also want you to hit the like and subscribe and share this with somebody you know. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you after the election.